Hi and welcome to another story, and today we have part 7 of Secrets by Jacqueline Wilson, continuing from chapter 13, Treasure. India's so kind. She's the best friend in all the world. I'm sitting here wearing her posh nightie and her cuddly cardie, eating her chocolate, and I've already read 50 pages of her precious Anne Frank. She's in her secret annex now, and so am I. It doesn't seem real. India's acting like she's practiced for this moment all her life. She's crept back twice this evening, just to make sure I'm all right, and each time she's brought me more stuff. She even offered me her teddy bear, though you probably think I'm an awful baby having a teddy bear. I just keep it for old time's sake. I don't play with her. Still, I thought it might make you feel cosy. I said it was very sweet of her, but I didn't really want her old teddy. I've never had my own teddy bear. I don't quite get why kids like them. I did have some Barbie dolls when I was little because they were cool with their pointy breasts and high heels and all their tiny adult outfits. Mum quite liked playing with them too. We'd play fashion models and famous actresses, and Mum would give them all different voices and make them lark about. It was great when I was little, and it was just Mum and me. No, it wasn't. She mostly didn't want to play. She just wanted to lie back and smoke her roll-ups and drink and watch telly, and if I pestered her, she'd yell at me or give me a shove or a smack. She'd really lose it sometimes, telling me it was all my fault. If I hadn't been born, she'd be out with her mates, having fun instead of stuck at home night after night with a boring little brat like me. Loretta is even younger than my mum was when I was born, and she's stuck with Brittany, but she doesn't yell at her. She makes a big fuss of her. But Brittany is pretty, with big blue eyes and lovely golden hair. She's so cute, Nan thinks she could do a spot of modelling for magazines. I've never been cute. I'm kind of ugly now, but I was worse as a baby because of my eyes. My eyes were squinty, one of them, and I had hardly any hair, an eczema all over, so I was scabby and cried a lot. Maybe it's not surprising my mum never went a bundle on me. Nan always loved me though. When I was little I stayed with Nan lots, but then Mum got this boyfriend, not Terry, it was 4 or 5 blokes before him, and we moved up north because the houses were cheap, but he couldn't get a job, so that was a dead loss. All my mum's boyfriends have been awful. Sometimes they had kids, but they didn't come and live with us too. It was always just Mum and me and the boyfriend until she took up with Terry. Then I had to get used to having Kyle and Bethany around all the time. Their mum had gone a bit mental on drugs, so Terry got custody. If he could kid the court he was a fit father once, I bet he could do it again. He is quite a good dad to baby Gary, playing aeroplanes with him, whirling him up and down and making him whoop. He's okay with Kyle and Bethany too. He bought them both bikes and scooters, and he acts the fool with them, wrestling with Kyle and tickling Bethany until she squeals. He's tried it with me too, but I can't stand him pawing me about, so then he starts getting at me. My own dad can't have thought much of me either, because he pushed off the minute I was born. Well, who cares? I've pushed off now. I shall hang out here until, I don't know, I can't stay here forever. I'm so fussed about Nan. She'll be so worried about me. I'll have to try to let her know I'm okay. I am okay, though I wish I had my inhaler in case I get wheezy. My chest feels a bit tight. I could do with a drink, but that's not a good idea. I'm trying to avoid going to the loo. It's awful having to use India's wastepaper bin. It's so pretty too, black with pink roses to match her magical bedroom. I waited and waited, fidgeting, legs crossed, but eventually I had to give in and go. It was weirdly hard to get started, even though I wanted to go so much, mostly because I couldn't sit properly. I just had to hang there. Once I got going, I went so much I started to worry I wouldn't be able to stop. What if I carried on until the wheeze slopped right over the edge of the bin and flooded the floor? But it eased off eventually and the bin didn't get too full, though I won't be able to go all that often. And what I am going to do about the other thing. I shall die when India has to empty it. I keep looking longingly at the bottle of Coke. I wish I hadn't eaten all that chocolate. I know it's India's secret supply. Am I going to have to live on chocolate all the time? I'd give anything for one of Nan's fry-ups. No, that's so ungrateful to poor India. I am lucky to have such a wonderful friend. Fate was kind to us, letting India look out of her bedroom window just as I was going by. That bedroom. I had no idea India's so rich. Her dad must earn millions. And her mum, I can't believe that she's really Moya Upton, the designer. I wonder if those are Moya Upton clothes in the corner. They're so cool. The most wondrous clothes ever. India is mad not to like them. I've just sorted all through them. I've tried heaps of them on. I hope India's mother won't mind. That is the most stupid thing I've ever written. She'd mind me hiding in her attic far more. I particularly like some black trousers and a black top with a sequin rose. They fit me, even though I'm so small and skinny. I wish I had a mirror. Maybe I'll wear them tomorrow if India doesn't mind. I'm back in the nightie now. I should try to go to sleep. I don't feel tired though. I don't even want to sit for long. I feel like I want to keep running. I keep thinking about Terry. I'll have to go back sometime, and then he'll get me. It's like he's all Anne Frank's Gestapo rolled up into one monstrous man. India's right about the Diary of Anne Frank. It is a great book. It starts off just like it's any girl's diary. She writes about her birthday presents and all the girls in her class, having a moan about most of them. Then she goes on about her boyfriends. That bit's irritating. But then suddenly she has to go into hiding, and the whole story changes dramatically. Well, it isn't a story. It was her real life. I've looked at the last page. It has the worst possible end. It's weird to think Anne Frank would be an old lady now if she'd managed to stay in hiding those few extra months until the end of the war. They stayed in the secret annex more than 2 years. I don't know how I'm going to manage 2 days. I'm so lonely. I wish India would come back. But this Wanda has come home now. I heard India say loudly, "Oh, Wanda, you're back already!" Obviously hoping I'd hear and realise I had to keep quiet now. It's so quiet here. At least Anne had her sister and her parents and Peter and his family. I wouldn't even mind the grumpy old dentist. I just want someone to talk to. Anyone. OK, I'll make someone. There. I've used some of the Moira Upton clothes, stuffing T-shirts into a sweater and a pair of jeans so that they plump out as if someone is wearing them. I've rolled a T-shirt into a ball and stuck it on top of a sweater with a funny woolly hat on. I've made a clothes person. I could call her Kitty, just like Anne Frank's imaginary friend. Kitty is lucky. She doesn't need to go to the loo. I do. She hasn't got any ears, so she doesn't keep hearing footsteps. She hasn't got a nose, so she can't smell the waste bin. She hasn't got any eyes, so she can't see this spooky old attic. At least there is a light. I'm going to keep it on all the time, even when I'm asleep. Only I can't sleep. I don't have a watch, but I think it must be the middle of the night. I heard 2 people go to the bathroom, one after the other, India and Wanda. The water tank gurgled and splashed later on. I think her parents used their bathroom on the first floor. No one's moved around for ages now. I've read another 100 pages of Anne Frank. I've drawn a special thank you card for India with a picture of the 2 of us hugging. I had to have several attempts. The first time, I drew India too big and I was worried it would upset her. The second time, I coloured my scar in too vigorously, so it looked like Terry had hacked my head in 2. So, it was 3rd time lucky, and when I'd coloured us in, more carefully this time, I enclosed us in a red heart and drew multicoloured daisies to fill up the rest of the page. Then, in my very best, nearly italic writing, I wrote, "To India, the best friend in all the world." She will like it a lot, I know. I felt good all the time I was drawing my picture, not quite so lonely. But now I feel bad again, and maybe it's silly to say India is my best friend because I've only known her a little while. I don't know much about her. I still feel a bit shy with her sometimes, not cosy like I do with Patsy. I wish I could cuddle up with Patsy now. No, I wish I could cuddle up with Nan. Oh, Nan. Oh, Nan. Oh, Nan. I don't think I went to sleep until it was nearly morning. I woke with a terrible start when the trapdoor opened. I didn't know where I was. I covered my head in case it was Terry coming to get me, but of course it was India, carefully balancing a proper breakfast tray one-handed. I feel so mean moaning that I might have to live on chocolate. This is what she brought me for breakfast. A bowl of cornflakes with brown sugar and sliced bananas and milk, 2 slices of toast, one with honey, one with apricot jam, a saucer of strawberries, a glass of fresh orange juice, and a cup of tea. "I've spilled half the tea," she said sadly. "It's perfect. Wonderful. Thanks ever so much, India." I looked at the big silver shiny thing she tucked under one arm. "Is that a saucepan lid?" India went pink. It's Mum's biggest wok lid. I was thinking about the bin. You see... She went over to the waste bin in the corner, delicately averting her eyes, and dropped the lid on it. It fitted snugly. There. I just thought it would be nicer and easier when I empty it, which I'll do now while everyone's still asleep. So I sat back, like little Lady Muck, and ate my beautiful breakfast while poor India trundled off with a sloppity bin. Goodness knows how she got it down those steps without dropping it. She brought it back all fresh and smelling of toilet duck. She stayed for a long time too, both of us, in our nightclothes. We were suddenly just like 2 girls having a sleepover party. We mucked about and got the giggles, stifled, and played silly paper games like noughts and crosses and hangmen and battleships. I've always been heaps better than anyone else at paper games. There's no point playing with Patsy because I always win. But India is a challenge. I did beat her twice though, and she didn't guess my hangman word, though I was sure she would. Secret annex. Then she wanted to challenge me to an Anne Frank quiz, but it was obvious who would win. We both drew her instead. We chose our favourite photo from the diary and copied it. India's was neater, with a border of little checked diaries and pens, and she managed a better likeness too. India politely said my drawing was much better than hers, but we both know she was fibbing. I wish I looked like Anne, said India, stroking the photo. Hasn't she got the most beautiful eyes ever? She looks so intelligent, don't you think? Yeah, but I don't like her hair much. Why did she have to curl it like that? I think she'd look much better with straight hair, and longer, past her shoulders. I wish I had long hair. You're lucky, India. I pulled at one of her fuzzy plaits. I hate my hair. I'd much sooner have soft, floppy hair like yours. I love the way your fringe goes. It looks cute. She patted it, and I winced automatically. Oh, God, I'm sorry. Is your cut still sore? No, not really. Not a bit. India gently parted my fringe and looked at the scar. How could he, Treasure? She whispered. You should see what he's done to my mum. He broke her jaw, he knocked out 2 teeth, he punched her in the stomach when she was expecting little Gary. Then why on earth does she stay with him? India asked, looking astonished. Well, she loves him. You can't love someone who punches you. Yes, you can, if you're stupid like my mum. He goes all smarmy afterwards and he cries and swears it will never happen again. She's mad enough to believe it. I still don't get it, said India, shaking her head. No one could believe him. India gets it now. This afternoon she came back with a portable television. Well, it seemed like a good idea. Wanda's out and Dad's asleep and Mum's gone to her workshop, so no one will ever know, said India, out of breath from lugging it up the stairs. You'll be carrying your entire bedroom up here soon, I said. Still, what a great idea. India switched it on and fiddled about until she got a programme. Ah, the news, I said. Wonder if I'm on it, eh? I was joking. But I was. There was a piece about a politician, then something about the countryside, all the usual boring stuff, but then suddenly there was a photo of me right above the newsreader's head. It's me. India, look. That's not you, said India, though they were reading my name out right that minute. She didn't recognise me because it was an ages-old photo from nearly 2 years ago when I was a little kid. We were on holiday at the seaside, Mum and me, and although I'm little, I look bigger in the photo, all bouncy and smiley, with my hair scooped up in silly little bunches. And there, with his hand on my shoulder, giving me a hug, is Terry the torturer. The horrible thing is, I'm looking up at him, with this stupid grin on my face. We just met up with him, and his kids, and he was making this big fuss of my mum and me, taking us all on the rides at the fun fair, and treating us to pizzas and fresh fish and chips, and ice cream. Every time he bought Kyle and Bethany any game or T-shirt or baseball cap, he bought me one too. I fell for him just as heavily as Mum, even though I'm meant to be the bright one. I hate that photo. The newsreader said that I'd been missing 24 hours. There's been a big police search, but so far no one has spotted me, though there are unconfirmed reports of my going off with some man. I wouldn't go off with any man. Are they nuts? I said. It's just like when Anne and her family went into hiding. There were all these rumours that they'd gone here, there, and everywhere. People swore they'd seen them. Shh, look. Oh, God. They were showing Nan's flat, but she was edged right into a corner. You could just see a strand of her fair hair and a bit of her shoulder as she sat on the arm of the sofa. My mum was right in the middle, holding baby Gary, with Terry beside her, his arm around them both. Mum was crying. Terry was crying, too, his green eyes spilling tears. We're so worried about our treasure, he said, straight to camera. His voice was husky with emotion. Please come home, darling, if you can. Mum burst into fresh floods, and Terry pulled her closer, all tender concern. I wanted to vomit. Chapter 14. India. I can't believe that awful, scary Terry could seem so heartbroken. He is brilliant at acting. It was so strange seeing Treasure's family on television. They interviewed a senior police officer who said they were becoming increasingly concerned for Treasure's safety. He urged the public to come forward if they had seen her, but no one at all can see her, except me. It's so extraordinary. All the police are out searching for her, when all the time Treasure's safe and sound in my secret attic. Well, she's safe. I'm not sure about sound. She isn't very well today. She's worrying about her nan, so she's all tense, and that makes her chest tight, and she gets asthma. When it's bad, she wheezes in between words, and if she's a little old lady, she needs her inhaler, but she's lost her bag. There's a spare inhaler at her nan's, though. Can't you go and see her after school, India? Treasure begged. You could go get her on your own and whisper where I am. She won't tell. You can trust my nan, and then she can slip you my spare inhaler. But what if Terry and your mum are still there? If they see me again, they might start to get really suspicious. It's too risky. Treasure sighed wheezily. She sat all hunched up, her fists clenched as she fought for breath. Try to relax, Treasure. Straighten your shoulders and take deep breaths. I can't breathe, you nut, she gasped. I massaged her shoulders and back, talking to her all the time, telling her to breathe in and out, in and out. Shut up, you Burke, said Treasure. But it was helping. She was soon breathing almost normally. How did you know what to do? I think maybe I saw some stuff on Casualty, I admitted. Do you want to be a nurse then? Well, I want to be a writer like Anne, but I wouldn't mind being a doctor. No, a surgeon. I'd like that, cutting people open and doing complicated operations. I'm not a bit squeamish. Just as well when you have to empty my horrible bin, said Treasure, shuddering. I don't mind, I said. Well, it is pretty revolting, actually, but I can manage. Wanda saw me coming out of the bathroom carrying the emptied bin and stared in astonishment. Why have you got the bin and a saucepan lid, she said. It's personal, I said. Wanda looked a little embarrassed. Oh, I see, she said, and disappeared into the bathroom herself. I heard her being sick. I hoped she hadn't got some bug. I didn't want Treasure to get it. I told her when I nipped up the attic steps. Treasure looked at me as if I was stupid. She could have a tummy bug, or she could be going to have a baby, she said. It was like an alarm bell going off inside my brain. I couldn't bear it. Treasure thought I was shaking my head because I didn't believe her. I don't know, of course, it's just my mum threw up a lot when she was pregnant with Gary. India? Treasure knelt down beside me. She's been acting all worried for weeks. She hasn't even eaten properly either. I think she is pregnant. But why are you getting so het up about it? I think it's my dad's baby. Treasure blinked at me. Oh, I see. It's awful. He doesn't even like her much. He wants to get rid of her. But maybe now she's having his baby he'll change his mind. Maybe he'll go off with Wanda. I don't think he'll leave all this, said Treasure, looking around to indicate our house. Not unless Wanda is really, really gorgeous. She isn't, I said sadly. I thought about my dad, my mum, Treasure's mum, Terry. I hate grown-ups, I said bitterly. You can't trust any of them. They're not all like that, said Treasure. You can trust my Nan. She wheezed again. Breathe, Treasure, don't tighten up, I said quickly. Look, I'll phone her. How about that? Can't I phone her? Treasure said eagerly. Well, I could try and sneak you Mum or Dad's mobile. I'll do my best when I get back from school, okay? Don't go, Treasure said, gripping my arm. Stay here with me, India, please. I'd give anything to stay, you know I would, but I can't. Wanda drives me to school. I'll have to whiz off in a minute. Well, kind of now. I tried very gently to unhook Treasure's hands. It's so lonely up here, she said. Can I come out during the day? It's a bit risky, Treasure. But your mum and dad will be out at work. Wanda will be here, though. She goes out sometimes, shopping or to a yoga class, but you'll never be able to guess when she'll be back. No, stay up here. I wish I could. You've got all the books and my drawing stuff, and you've got your lunch all waiting. I tried really hard with Treasure's lunch, making her cheese salad sandwiches and tuna and sweet corn rolls with carrot sticks and tomatoes and a cherry yoghurt and a flapjack and an apple and a bottle of orange juice. I heard Mum's high-heeled boots tapping down the stairs, so I shoved the lot into my school bag in the nick of time. Mum looked at me suspiciously, asking why I'd gone pink. She tutted when she saw the bag of brown rolls was open. Have you been at those Baps, India? How many have you eaten? You know you're only supposed to have muesli and fruit for breakfast. It's for your own good. She went on at me, nag, nag, niggle, niggle, while she brewed her black coffee and nibbled a single slice of melon. I was happy to let her think I was this great greedy pig, but I wished Treasure might act a little pleased. She hadn't eaten her breakfast either, not one bite, though I'd tried hard to vary it. Toast and honey, melon, cocktail, a banana and a carton of milk. Eat your breakfast, Treasure, I said. I've got to go now. I'll try hard to see your Nan after school, I promise, and I'll come rushing back home as quick after that. The day will just flash by. You'll see. Treasure nodded, but she was nibbling her lip anxiously. I gave her a quick hug. I didn't like leaving her, but what else could I do? It was so strange to run downstairs and start off for school as if nothing had happened. I felt awkward with Wanda. I kept giving her tummy little glances as she drove me to school, imagining a tiny tadpole baby swimming about inside her. I wanted to know if it was really true, but I went hot at the thought of asking her. You're very quiet, said Wanda, as she drew up outside school. Yes, well, I've got things on my mind, I said. Me too, said Wanda significantly. Anyway, I'll pick you up usual time this afternoon. Don't worry, I won't be late. No, we've got our arrangement. Don't you remember? I'm coming home by myself. I've changed my mind, India. It's not safe. That kid's still missing from the Latimer estate. They think some man's abducted her. That's rubbish, I said. I bet she's just run away. Whatever, said Wanda. I'm still coming to pick you up. No, you're not, I said. I'm going to my friend Tiffany's house, and then her mum will drive me home. It's all arranged. Does your mother know? No, I don't want to tell her. You know what she's like. Yes, said Wanda, but I still think... Wanda, I've got to go. I'm late. I was out of the car and running into school before she could continue. It was a trying day at school. Maria and Alice had some new joke together, nudging each other and giggling whenever they looked in my direction. I kept dropping the wretched ball in PE. The whole class groaned and went, surprise, surprise, when I came top in the maths test. It was pizza for lunch, but my slice was very small and burned underneath. I didn't really care about any of this. School suddenly seemed such a stupid, trivial place. I hurtled across the playground the second the bell went for home time, just in case Wanda was thinking of collecting me after all. I was way down the road while the others had scarcely started struggling across the playground. I ran nearly the whole way to the Latimer estate, rehearsing what I was going to say to Treasure's Nan, but I didn't get the chance. There were 2 big television vans parked in the courtyard of Elm Block, and over by the dustbin shelter there were a crowd clustered in front of the television camera. Kids were running towards it, desperate to be on television too. I grabbed one little boy by his bony elbow. What's going on? Leave off. It's the telly, innit? They got the bloke. Which bloke? The one that murdered the girl, Treasure. She's not murdered. Well, they haven't found her body yet, but my mum says it's only a matter of time. She says they should torture him until he says what he's done with her. Who? That nutter Michael Watkins. He's the one that did it. Michael Watkins? You are thick. He lives next door to Treasure and her gran, Rita, and all that crowd. Mumbly Michael. He hasn't done anything to Treasure. Yes, he has. The coppers came and arrested him. They did a search of his mum's flat and all. There's no trace of Treasure. Yet. My mum reckons they should search the dustbins. She'll be found soon, you wait. He jerked his elbow free and ran towards the television crew. I ran after him, though my legs were so wobbly I nearly fell down. They couldn't have arrested poor Mumbly Michael. They could. A journalist was talking solemnly straight to the camera. We understand that the police are still questioning this man, who is believed to be the next-door neighbour of Treasure Mitchell's grandmother. There's still no sign of the little girl herself, but her family haven't given up hope. I wondered if this family was still staying with Nan in her flat. I skirted the crowd and dodged up the stairs, but when I got to the right landing, I saw there were 2 police officers outside Nan's flat, and 2 more outside Mumbly Michael's. I felt so frightened, I just bobbed back down the stairs, rushing too quickly in the dark. I missed my footing and went hurtling down 4 or 5 steps at once, landing with a terrible thump on my hands and knees, my school bag giving me another bash in the back for good measure. I knelt there, whispering all the swear words I know to try to stop myself crying. Then I picked myself up and limped down the rest of the stairs. The television crew was still filming, the camera panning the crowd. I kept my head well down and backed away. I ran until I was out of the Latimer estate altogether, and then I hobbled along to the parade of shops. I went to the chemist's. I had £10 in my school purse. I hoped it would be enough. I smiled at the lady behind the counter. Can I have one of these asthma inhaler things, please? Have you got your prescription, dear? Uh-oh. No, I've been very stupid. I lost it. Couldn't you just give me the inhaler? I can pay. I've got the money. No, dear, you have to have the prescription. You'll have to go back to your doctor. I can't. I haven't got an appointment. I need the inhaler now. I'm going off to stay at a friend's, you see, and I'm starting to go all wheezy. I started to imitate Treasure, having an attack. It was quite easy because I was still out of breath from all the running. I'm sorry, we're not allowed to sell any asthma products over the counter without a prescription, she said. Look, can't you give the inhaler to me now, and I'll use it and calm down and go and see the doctor and get another prescription and bring it straight back to you, I promise. No, I'm afraid that's just not possible. She was staring at me, starting to get suspicious. Are you on your own? Is your mother outside in the car? Oh, never mind, I said, giving up and running out of the shop. I hoped the television and newspapers hadn't said anything about Treasure being asthmatic. I decided to trail all the way into town to see if I could buy anything for asthma at the big Boots in the shopping centre. I thought I'd seem much less conspicuous in a crowded shop. I just hoped they had a different policy. They didn't. They wouldn't sell me an inhaler. They went through the whole we need a prescription rigmarole. So I gave up and spent the £10 on treats for Treasure instead. Blue sparkly nail varnish and cherry-flavoured lip gloss and butterfly slides and some chocolate. And I bought room freshener too and more tissues. It was getting horribly late now. I knew Treasure would be wondering where on earth I'd got to. I ran some of the way home, but I was tired out and my knees were hurting badly, so I wasn't very fast. I wanted to rush straight up to Treasure, but Wanda was waiting in the hall. This isn't good enough, India. Why didn't you ring me from Tiffany's house? I've been so worried. There's no need to worry, Wanda. Wanda was still looking at me strangely. There's something going on, India. You're acting very oddly all of a sudden. She paused. You didn't slip back here at lunchtime, did you? I felt my heart thump. I tried not to look anxious. No. Why? Mrs. Winslow seemed sure someone had been in the kitchen. Oh, I said, as if I wasn't that interested. Anyway, Wanda, I better go and get started on my homework. I've got heaps. I raced upstairs and made a great show of slamming my bedroom door, and then I opened it again very cautiously, scooted along the landing and up the stairs. I poked my head up into the attic. It was pitch black. Treasure! What is it? What's happened? I felt for the light switch. I found it, but the light didn't come on. Treasure! Why wasn't she answering me? I pulled myself up and felt my way in the darkness. Treasure, please, it's me. Please, it's me, India. Where are you? I found the armchair, but it was empty. Then I nudged into something on the floor. I bent and felt clothes, a limp body, arms, legs. I shook her gently, and to my horror, her arm came right off, dangling there in my hands. And that is where we will leave part 7 of Secrets by Jacqueline Wilson. I'll be back soon with the next part of this fantastic story and lots more stories and videos coming your way very soon. If you'd like to subscribe or hit a like, that's always appreciated. Take care. Bye-bye.